Oh.
Yeah, go this weekend.
Yes.
On their side.
I
Wish I committee.
I didn't know now. It was
Support, endorsement.
Starting earlier.
41.
Starting earlier.
Just so everyone knows, I have unmuted Chambers. I know we have a couple minutes, but Chambers is unmuted and we are live.
Guys, did y'all hear that?
Hey, better wait.
Just so you know, it's unmuted.
Well, I do.
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. Call the meeting to order. It should be right at 5:30. Quick roll call. We have legislators Elaine Daly, Andy Dennison, Mike Didio have been excused. I have Trish Kerr, Heidi Nightingale, Chris Petrus, and myself. We have a quorum. So if we could, I just would like to ask everybody to stand up for a moment of silence in recognition of the 81st anniversary of Pearl Harbor. I ask that you keep all those in your minds and the survivors of that day. Thank you very much. Okay. Minutes to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes?
I'm on the committee.
I'll second.
Way to be the backup. though. I
Okay, here we
appreciate
go. All right. All right, I have a motion and a second. Anybody else have anything to say? Hearing none. All in favor?
it. Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. No appointments. We'll move right on to department updates. First up bat is Denise Spengler, 911.
Good evening. You have my report and I don't have a lot tonight. In regards to our trainees, we did lose one of the trainees. The other three are progressing very, very well. In fact, one of them cleared call taking early. The other two I anticipate clearing probably within the next week or so. So they will all start dispatching a discipline probably mid-January. They'll sit call taking for the next few weeks just to kind of get their feet wet and work on their own independently. And then start dispatching one of the disciplines. And in respect to the communication system, I've talked about, the issues that we're having with coverage in the southern end. I expect to have some kind of a quote next week on that project. Again, that will be just for the Motorola portion of the project, depending on costs. And if we decide to move forward with that plan, then we would look to quote out towers and shelters and generators and all that good stuff that goes along with the sites. And the last thing I have is we have been having some paging issues. Motorola's been on top of it. They've done a great job troubleshooting. They have found the root of the problem. Kind of question is, whether or not they've been kind of, I want to say piecemealing, but fixing the issues. But they may just need to replace kind of one of the bigger pieces of equipment there, but it's all under contract. So it's nothing that we're going to see any costs for. That's all I have for the evening.
Anybody have any questions for Denise? Thank you, Denise. Next up would be Lloyd Hoskins from Assigned Counsel.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be even shorter than Denise, I think. You all received my report for November. I really don't have any additional updates. I do have tonight, I'd like to introduce our new supervising attorney for the Assigned Counsel Office, Mr. John Price. John, you want to say a few words or introduce yourself?
John Price, happy to be a supervising attorney for the Assigned Counsel panel. I've worked as a part of that panel for 5 years now. Just looking forward to moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Anybody have anything for Lloyd?
Chairman, I did talk to Rich a little before the meeting about you calling together maybe a small group of legislators as well as my staff in terms of looking at supporting or not supporting the legislation on the enhanced rates. So we'll make ourselves available anytime.
All right, sir. I think we were talking about maybe right after the first week after the first year after we get things settled for the legislature. I'll get something put together and get everybody seated and have a discussion.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anybody else have anything for Lloyd? Yes, sir.
I just like clarification. That's on the compensation for the assigned council.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I had a question too.
Sure.
I was wondering with the stats, do you have any ability to provide detail in terms of place of residency or recidivism or anything like that? Nature type of crime?
We do, yes. So we have it's kind of an outdated software system now, and we're looking, it's one of the things John's been working on is looking at new software to track that. But right now we can track the crimes, the residency, the date of births, all that, yeah. I can tell you right now, probably the number one crime that people at least CAP are being arraigned on are criminal contempts. It's skewed way high. Probably 8 out of 10, maybe, Brittany.
And what about recidivism in terms of repeat offenses? Is that easy data to draw out of your data?
That I would not be able to draw out. I don't. I mean, I could tell you how many times a defendant has been arrested, how many
Criminal history.
but in terms of recidivism,
Okay.
it would be difficult for my office to do.
Sheriff?
Mr. Chair, so the incarcerated individuals that are participating in our reentry program with Cayuga Counseling, we are starting to track that information. So we don't have good data from the jail or from our office, but we are starting with a baseline now, and moving forward, we'll at least have some data relative to that.
And to piggyback on that, I mean, what a lot of that is focused in on is obviously when you have, say, a lot of populations that need mental health care or help with substance abuse and recovery. We're trying to really fill in those stop gaps to make it where people are more likely to be successful. So again, this just started in some capacity with a new system that we plan on putting in there for the medical record down in the jail. That might be able to help us with certain components, not all recidivism because it's more of a medical base, but if someone keeps on coming in and always, coming in with controlled substances and things along those lines too, we'll be able to probably help out with some of that data.
I would love to get eyes on it. I know we're part of a study now, or we're going to be part of a study, which is great, just to see what's going on with these individuals and, are they reforming? Are they improving their lives? Are they going back into the system? So I appreciate.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Next up, Dr. Adam Duckett. Our coroner.
My resolutions. Depends how many I do. So I can wait.
No, you're up. You might as well take care of it right now.
So, all right. So a couple meetings ago, I came in because my ignorance, I didn't know how this all worked. As you recall, I asked 2021, I put in for a request to give my 4 deputy investigators a $2,000 raise. They make around $6,000 a year. They take 12-hour shifts a month. They have to go through snow, sleet, their own vehicles, their own equipment. We do cover some mileage and part of their cell phone, but to get the quality folks that we have, like we have 2 morticians, We have a chiropractor, a physician, understands the body, and the other gentleman has actually gone through classes and things to understand stuff on his own accord. So to get good quality and keep good quality people, I just felt it was time to give them a little bump for their services. That was approved, the budget, but I didn't realize that we had to do another round of saying, yes, can we apply that? So I worked, actually, I appreciate everybody that's helped me with that, putting together the resolution tonight to ask for that and to make all the kind of necessary changes that they need to do to apply to their positions. It's only $8,000 total that was already budgeted between 4 individuals.
All right, I have a
Move it, Peters.
motion on the floor. I need a second.
Thank you.
I have a second. Any discussion? On JP one? Hearing none. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next up, our district attorney, Brittany.
Good evening, everyone. Very short update. I just got word from DCJS that they did approve our Discovery Grant funding for 2022-2023. It's a little over $270,000, so that's great. There's always a risk that we're not going to get any funding from the state, so I'm very pleased that we are going to get it. We are one of the counties that applied for it and got that, so that's great news. I anticipate submitting a resolution come January to ask the legislature to accept it. So that'll be forthcoming. Other than that, I don't have anything and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Anybody have anything for the district attorney? Chairman.
But are you full now?
We are fully staffed, yes. Yeah.
Good. For the first time in a long time.
We're first time in a long time, so it's very nice, both support staff and assistant DAs.
Congratulations.
So that's been very helpful.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next up, our fire EMO director, Mr. Riley Shirtliff.
Good evening, everyone. You have my report in front of you. I just want to touch on a few notable changes since that was submitted. In regards to line item number 1, Public Safety Training Center improvements. We did have a meeting with Bergman Associates today. We have received 5 different site plans as well as 5 different building designs that all differ just slightly from one another. We'll be reviewing those amongst staff in the next couple of weeks. Then we'll be choosing our selected preference before we move forward with the next step, at which point we'll be working towards an estimate on pricing. Looking at line item number 2, we're still working on the COOP. We're down to just 2 departments that are having some staffing struggles, but we'll be loaning out Rusty to try and get up to speed and be moving forward and hopefully have a presentation come January. And down towards operations, we've got a little bit more this month than last month. I've got a little bit of ground under my feet at this point. I want to give a major shout out to my staff with Harry Sherman as deputy director, my fire coordinator, Larry Digert, my deputy coordinator, Jeff Digert, for their assistance with the state of emergency in Cato. We've gone through 3 water main breaks now. We went through about 13,000 or 1,300 gallons of canned water, which breaks down into an awful lot of cans. And we're very happy to say that Cato's water tower is full again and we're back up and running. But I really just want to emphasize how much the 3 of them did as boots on the ground and as liaisons back and forth. That is all I have at this time on my report. Are there any questions?
Trish, go ahead.
Thank you for your work with Cato water crisis.
It was not a happy Thanksgiving for about 550 people.
Yeah, it was right. Was it the day before or the day of?
About 5:30 the night before, we got the phone call that the tower was out of water and the mayor wanted to declare a state of emergency. So it took us a little over, but right about 18 hours by the time we had delivery. But we were able to secure the immediate pallets of water. We used our county trailers to get out to a warehouse and secure that. We could not come up with a state funded driver or box truck on a holiday. It was put out through a request situation, but that's where Larry and Jeff really stepped up to it. And so we did the best we could and we got people at least some canned water for the holiday and came back online within a few days.
Great. My question was about the fire safety training tower project.
The tower, yeah.
Tower. You mentioned there's 5 different designs or scenarios. Are those gonna come through committee at all, or what's the process there? And is there a big price differential, or how's it?
Multi-part answer to a multi-part question here. So as you are aware, this is part of the shared services plan to update the tower. Following up on prior conversations, the tower, when it was deemed unusable by the state because of the dirty classroom portion, we went forward with trying to come up with some designs to make it a usable training facility. All of the designs are very similar in nature. It's mostly in terms of layout of decontamination areas versus a clean classroom, vehicle storage areas for some of these trailers like we were using for the Cato emergency. And then as well as site design where we're going to move existing props to best allow flow of visiting vehicles for students that are attending classes, but also the apparatus that are using the tower itself. So there's the same concepts. All of them are around the same square footage. From here, we've got these and we'll be bouncing it between staff with the state fire instructors that actually teach out there. And some of them have been teaching there for over 2 decades. So they're very intimate with the facility as it is. We'll review it. We'll choose the option that best works for us, as well as a secondary. That'll be something that comes back through that we'll say, this is what we're trying to move forward with. At which point part of the contracted deal with Bergman Associates is to come up with a price cost estimate based on the selection. Does that answer your questions?
It does. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else for Riley? Thank you, Riley.
Thank you.
Thanks, Riley.
Next up, JD West Belair, probation.
Good evening, everyone. Sent my report in. Happy to answer any questions. The biggest issue is we were kind of hoping to end 2022 only down 1 staff. We're going to end it down 2. We're going through the process to fill. We'll bring a resolution in January to fill the account clerk position. And then I've been talking to HR Civil Service about the current candidate pool, which isn't really great news right at the moment, unfortunately. I know they just sat the account clerk's exam, I believe in October. So there will be a new list for that position coming out, but it's been taking Albany about 8 months to get lists generated. So we may have to end up hiring someone provisionally if we can identify a candidate. That's basically where we're at.
Anybody have any questions for Jay? Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Last but not least, Sheriff Brian Shane.
Good evening. Submitted my report. I don't have anything to add to that, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has anything.
Oh, quick,
Make it easy tonight.
quick and easy, simple for the sheriff.
Not always the case.
No questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks, man.
That brings us to the end. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So, second.
Have one, need a second. Chris is a second.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
I know. It's only because last month I was like, hey, I'm gonna be a record.
Government
18
ops.
minutes.
Let's stay on a roll. Government ops ASAP. I give a little time for breaks. Yep.
Great.
Hopefully we'll get at it quick.
18 minutes, that's a record. Write it down.
I want to beat it.
Write it down.
Oh, no. How are you? Good.
Problem is that
Oh, really? Is there a super short meeting on the book? Yeah, right. Why?
I don't put that far off.
Too many crazy.
So
No, it's usually.
Us springers, we don't stick together.
Yeah. I was looking for one. Yeah.
You know, I read it, I just being honest.
This is going past it.
Supposed to finish the next
Don't have too much fun.
Look at Big John.
We like that much light.
I'm excited.
What?
You want to try to schedule something around it?
You're getting up there. In the midway. Yeah. Good thing I didn't know that, because that probably would have gotten announced.
Well, that's why I didn't want to.
Congratulations. Yes.
Have a good one. Looking forward to seeing you.
No, but you get all that.
Yeah, they are good. Bring them out and we'll run off this energy.
Well, I would love that. Things are
Have a good night, Adam. Nice job, Adam.
If you want.
So- I know, they're great. How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Now?
No.
Yeah.
Very short.
She put it through. That one was,
So it's finished.
or whatever it was. I don't know. She put it through today or,
That's a good meeting.
We have an executive session. Oh.
we can talk.
Got a better week than we do. I tell you that.
Are there coaches?
All right. If it's just for legislators.
Big out for a second.
Do it today. Good.
Okay.
Just about.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't.
Yep. Okay, you said, you all good? All right, so call the meeting to order. I believe
One more time.
we have Aileen, whom has been excused. Everyone else is present. How about a motion for the minutes to approve? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed, carried. So Katie and Cheryl, I don't think Katie's on there.
No,
No updates. This is usually, I can speak from experience.
they've only got 17 days left.
Yeah, and it's also kind of a down
Yeah.
period. When I was there, it was the calm after the storm, so they're probably taking a well-deserved rest.
Yep.
So anyways, Chris, no, he's gone too.
No, you got Sheila.
He just walked out. I'm sure he's coming back. I shouldn't say that. That's codes here
There's that.
and computers here.
He just walked out.
So is Sheila, in the meantime?
Amanda is on and no updates. So we can keep on rolling.
I love it.
That's
That's why she's
Got a
my,
glass of wine.
and she referred to herself in the third person.
I'm gonna ask questions just because.
All right, Fred or Chris, any updates, concerns, anything you want to discuss? Outstanding, thank you. I don't believe Sue is on either. Is this really happening? I would set a record. Okay. No Sue.
Tom on
All
there.
right. Anybody have any questions, concerns that we want to
Tom's a trainer.
relay to Sue?
He did.
No? All right. This is good. Tom Bunn is also, I don't know if they're called excused for department.
He's a trainee.
But yeah, so he's not here. He sent his updates. Any questions we can
I'm
move
after
to
that.
him? Hearing nothing. I keep waiting to get like a,
He did want me to say if you've got any questions, he'll be back in a couple days. too.
yeah, he left a message and
Right.
directed to him.
Right.
Is Kevin on?
He is.
There we go.
You found
Bob?
somebody?
I am here. I'm glad I dialed in when I did.
Outstanding. Thank you.
In the background, you might hear some coughing. My daughter has a cough, so you might hear that.
That's all right.
All right, so we're moving along now at the Veterans Office. We're now up to our full contingent of employees for the county. And we're keeping busy, that's for sure. Veterans Day was good, not as good as I wanted it to be, but I think it was a good event, and we got to get some information out to over 53 veterans at the YMCA. And I was able to speak at the Veterans Day, Auburn Veterans Day ceremony. So I think that was good. And we're continuing to move forward. And if there's any questions on what's going on, we might want to just hit the resolutions as well, so I can talk about those or the resolutions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, actually, to talk about them, if you guys want, we'll do a motion and a second for discussion and then. Motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion and a second. Okay, do you want to explain a little, sir?
Okay, so we're getting funding from the state, the Dwyer program funding. Its main intent is to reduce veteran suicide. But since I've been in the position, I'm now going on a year. I can't believe it's been that fast. It's going by really fast.
For me too.
And the thing I'm learning the most is that there is a lot of either lack of information or misinformation out there about veteran benefits. And so my intent is to use this Dwyer funding to be able to get out more around the county, like even north and south. I'm going to try and find some people in south part of the county to talk to veterans, go over what benefits they're currently getting, if they're getting any, and see if there's anything else that they're eligible for. And so these additional 4 part-time veteran service officers will be very helpful in that endeavor. This is kind of what I've been planning for a while. This will just help it go a little bit faster. And so with the Dwyer funding, we have $100,000 that came in last year, another $100,000, I'm sorry, for 2022, and there's another $100,000 for 2023. So that's what's going to be funding these positions to get out and work with veterans more.
Any questions on the resolution, Mr. Chairman?
Well, it's not really the resolution, but I didn't want to miss him when he got off. Thanks for emceeing that and speaking, at least speaking at our Veterans Day, Kev. I appreciate it. Everybody did. And I want to thank you. 2 days ago, a veteran called me, was really down and out. And I hooked him up with Kev and he's taken care of him. So thank you very, very much, Kev, for doing that.
Well, and that's the kind of thing you got that call, but we get calls like that on a semi-regular basis for not maybe that severe, but for different issues. And I'm trying to be preemptive and what's the word I'm looking for? Instead of reactionary, proactive, to work with some of these veterans so that they have the benefits and we don't have to rush at the last minute to help them out.
Any other questions regarding GO10? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I see the county clerk
Thank you, Kev.
is here. Sue, I know you have a resolution, but also if you want to, I know you put no updates,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
Just a couple things. You probably all received the NISAC, we're NISAC 2Cs, county clerks, but New York State Association of Counties and their priorities. One thing they left off, which they have to add, is we are asking for a bigger retention piece to our DMV work. So that will be included in it. So that'll be one correction that you'll see. It's been 24 years, I think, since they increased our amount. It's 12.7%. We're just asking for 15, but we're negotiating with them. So hopefully they'll move on this. We've been begging for a long time. And other than that, we're contacting phase 2, the 20-something departments in the county that will be in phase 2. We're contacting all of them, telling them what's to come, giving them a heads up and saying how many boxes they have in the record center, and we're going on from there. So we're not even nearly through with phase 1, but we want them to know, be prepared for this. And so we don't want to spring anything on them. Other than that, we're busy. We have 2 retirements, December 30th. Bonnie Thomas and Brenda Tompkins, they're 2021 year employees, and we're going to miss them like crazy. But that brings me to the resolution, one of the resolutions. So,
All right, so let's do a motion at this time.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We could do some discussion on it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's filling a budgeted position due to a retirement. Anybody, any questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
thank you.
Thank you, Sue. All right, so we have some, looks like what, 8, 7, no, 2 through 9. They're clerk of the legislature motions. So I'm just kind of trying to get a flavor. Does anybody want to bundle them?
I'll move the bundle.
I'll second.
Second.
So, okay, we have a motion and a second on the bundle. So let's do any discussion regarding the bundle, which just for sake of posterity is 2 through 9. All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, any other discussion to come before the committee? Don't you dare. Yes, ma'am.
Since Sue brought it up, I was curious, with that differential in the DMV funds that we're asking for, do you have a sense of how much money that would bring back into our county based on our activity, or could you calculate that or get a sense of that?
I would think that the state could give us an estimate easily.
Okay.
But it depends when it's going to pass, will it pass? It won't be a whole year, because what is the state's budget? It's April or something, right? So I guess we'd have to get an estimate. You would know that too, probably. We could easily estimate that, given the numbers we got the numbers today. And then, yeah, but I couldn't do it now.
No, I was just curious if you could, if you had a
It
chance
would be
to.
great in our budget. We definitely could use it. And we haven't had it, like I said, in 24 years. And we tried to do this many years, but it seems to be they're willing to talk.
Great.
So they might trade something out. Right now, they give us a little something about online things. They might give us a trade and they might make a, we might have to negotiate a little bit. We're ready to do that.
Any further questions? Yes, ma'am.
This isn't a question, it's a discussion or a comment. Going back to GO 2, 3, and 4, those are the amendments and 2 policies. What I wanted to, why you heard me vote in agreement is that I noticed, and I don't know why, maybe it was because of other conversations in just the month past, that the language about the administrator being pulled out was changed. So now it accompanies a whole, a range of leadership options, which I was pleased to see, because as a body, we have not voted to banish administrator. as our leadership form. We haven't done anything about that. So I was pleased to see that in these 3 policies, and I hope going forward that certainly makes it easier for me.
Sure.
So thank you for, I think the clerk of the legislature and deputy clerk for working through those.
They did a
changes in
great job.
leadership.
And Doreen worked with it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Keeping in mind that myself and the chairman of Judicial and Public Safety are in a race right now. All right, let's have a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll close, so that.
4 minutes.
Happy
Will there
holidays.
be like a plaque?
How are you?
Yeah, they need.
Yeah. They designed them for like 3 picture. I won.
I love them.
Yeah, they are great.
To give out
Absolutely.
whoever we
Thanks.
want. Okay.
Uh,
Yes. Thanks, Jody.
Thanks, everyone.